Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? I have not been to sleep. And not because I've been up all night drinking. It's because I've been up all night writing and I've been up all night. I've been coaching some international clients. So you are, I thank God for makeup this morning. I was like, got to about 6 o'clock and I thought, you guys, I'm going to have to put some makeup on for you. You are not ready to see me as grey as I am underneath this slap this morning. First past post this morning, we've got Diane Ivory. Good morning, Diane. Hello, hello. Who's pulling a mad face? Diane, I think your angry button's like not, your love button's not working. You've got your like Facebook's telling me that you've pressed the angry button. Were you mad at me? Morning, Vicky Head. How are you? Morning, Emma Belmont in the house. I'm looking beautiful, no sleep. Yeah, we're praising the deities for makeup this morning, my darlings. Welcome to the show at Wise Up, Rise Up show. Or if you are me, the stay up late and stay up through the night show. I hope you are all good. How are you feeling? We are on Thursday. We are on the slide to the weekend now. Facebook spams you all the time. It just taunts you. I love it. So welcome to the show this morning. I am thrilled for you to join us. How are things where you are? It looks like the sun may have its hat on today here in Preston. It isn't quite Scorchio. It is going to get a bit shitby this morning. But what is the weather doing where you are? Let's be very British about this whole thing. Look at this. She's a professional. Just like reaching behind me and know where I am on the map now. I'm here. Good morning, Annie Cameron. How are you, sweetheart? I told you just randomly sends emojis without me pressing anything. You just look like you're angry at everyone. Good morning, Lisa Wynn. Hello, nice to see you. Slide to the bank holiday weekend. Indeed. I don't even know when bank holidays are anymore. I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore. Who am I? Who are you? Who are we? We are here. Let me know what the weather's doing where you are. As we do slide into this bank holiday weekend, the sunshine is peeping through in Brum. Let's give you a little Scorchio bee. There we go. There you go, Birmingham. You can have a little sunny bee looking after your blue skies in Warrington. Look, we've got some blue skies happening. I love it. Let's move Preston up. Let's get Wazza over here. Wazza in the house, little sunshiny bee over there. The weather has no real idea what it is doing in Suffolk, then I think we shall say it's a bit shit. We'll be very British about it, say that it's a bit shit. It is dry and cloudy in Colwyn Bay. It's a bit shit? It's not raining, it's not sunny, it's a bit shit there in Colwyn Bay. We do have to sort these out. Oh my God. When I've written this book, I promise you I'll get some more bees on the go. So yeah, book update. Are you ready? I have not left this office in 24 hours other than to go for a wee and have something to eat very quickly. I promise that will change at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I will have a little sleep. Before I carry on into the evening again. I am almost finished with the first draft, you guys. We are just over 2/3 of the way through, nearly there now. I am really, really happy with how things are, like the shape that things are taking. I'm super, super happy about the chapters and the kind of shapes the chapters are making. The beta readers are enjoying what I'm sending them so far. And we're on track. I can't believe it. I'm like, oh hell, we might even get this thing out at the right time. So super, super, super excited about getting it all wrapped up, because then after that we are on the path to be heard and the doors opening to be heard. So you want to be a speaker. This is the course that I open up twice a year. We'll be doing that at the end of September. We'll kick things off with that, with a free challenge in the IATQB Hive. If you're not in the IATQB Hive, make sure you come and join us in there. We'll be doing things in there over the next few weeks to get things jiggy, ready for our challenge. We do a little bit of a speaker challenge to give you a taster of what Be Heard So You Want to Be a Speaker is all about. And then we open the doors and we let you guys come flooding loading in, and then we have an incredible time together over the course of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 6 months, depending on which you choose to get involved with. So that's a little bit about what's coming up for me. Tell me in the comments what's coming up for you. I want to know. So today we have an incredible guest. I am super, super grateful that we have this guest on this morning. I am definitely ready for a little bit of this lady's energy, for a little bit of this lady's sass, and a little bit of this lady's story. It is super, super interesting, and I know it will be for you. We're going to talk about some things this morning, you guys. Get comfy, get yourselves a brew, and please welcome to the insanely talented, the gloriously beautiful, the fabulously tanned, the well-lit. I'm very jealous of this lady's lighting. Charlotte Hopkins, good morning.
Good morning. Can I just first say I'm so impressed with geography?
Oh, yeah?
Because I would have known where to put some of those cities.
I just make it up. The way that we do it, Charlotte, is that we have the Watford Gap here, and if it's on the Midlands, then it sits on the line. If it's anywhere below the Watford Gap, then it doesn't matter where it goes.
Well, you know Colwyn Bay's in South Wales.
Colwyn Bay's not.
No,
it's in Northwest. Stop it. What's the weather doing where you are, Charlotte? Tell me.
It is much the same as Colwyn Bay, dry and cloudy. But there's no, there's no Storm Francis. So actually, we could do with just a bit of sunshine because there's no Storm Francis, which has been blazing a trail through Wales for the last 2 days.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just rained. So the last 2 days, it's not been stormy. It's just been heavy rain and then stopping rain, and then it's a bit shit, and then it's heavy rain again. So whereabouts?
There's literally been down the underneath the B. That'll do.
There we go.
Yeah, that'll do in Wales.
Just like the whole of Wales, just Wales.
Yeah,
it's just Wales. That's not
Cardiff.
Wales.
So in Cardiff, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, probably a little bit west there, but that'll do. Oh, I'm so excited.
I think I will get it right. I am made up. I am made up that you're here. So, Charlotte, let us get down to the nitty-gritty. We've got lots to talk about this morning and not a huge amount of time to cover everything. So let's do it. Are you ready?
Yes.
She's ready. All right. So, Charlotte, tell us about what it is that you do. What do you do? Have I frozen?
Okay, so I have a crazy saying. I do say a lot. I'm really passionate about substance misuse, which always comes across a little bit wrong. But what I'm really passionate.
That's okay. Horses for courses. Which is a safe and non-judgmental space. If you need any help, like we can signpost you. It's fine.
Promise it's tea. So essentially, I've been working within the drug and alcohol sector for 20 years.
Right.
And predominantly supporting practitioners and professionals around raising the standards of practice around substance misuse, domestic abuse, mental ill health, trauma-informed practice, all of those kind of things that you would expect to see within kind of traditional community services.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, or just over 3 years ago, we set up Kimby, which is my training kind of consultancy and qualifications company. And I immersed myself in the online world, assuming that anybody who was a professional helping people, so coaches, therapists, counselors, those people who are self-employed, working with all kinds of just kind of life-changing decisions for people, I just assumed that the protection measures and the professionalism and the credibility and all those kind of things would kind of be mimicked, and that it would be regulated. And I was wrong. Right. So now my company, we do a lot of stuff offline. So we work with kind of Welsh Government and Public Health Wales and the police services and do training and consultancy around professional practice. But we also now do stuff online to support coaches, therapists, counsellors, kind of professional people helping people to level up so that they are protected, but also they've got this kind of really incredible, like unshakable confidence in what they do, because so many people I've worked with or spoken to still wobble, and they are amazing at what they do, but they have this whole thing of comparing themselves to other people. And let's be fair, the online world is a bit whack. It's a bit
it's shysty. It's shysty. Let's
there's so much good. Yeah. It's a bit glossy.
Yeah,
at
so
times.
I love being in the online world. I love it. And I've been
Me
in the
too.
online world now for 7 years, and in growing it in different ways, growing my audience in different ways. And the way that I've grown it is in complete conflict with often what is put out there in terms of perfection. I am the antithesis of this kind of created, perfect, curated coach life, laptop lifestyle, certainty selling situations that we find out there, because it boiled my piss. It wound me up that there were lots of people out, because the closer I got to it, the more I saw what was underneath. And
Absolutely that.
the difficulty for me is like, so for me, in my professional practice, I've been in my professional practice for 20 years. So I've been on stage for 20 years. I've been in corporate as a trainer, a presentation trainer for over a decade. So I've got time served and qualifications and all that kind of stuff. I feel qualified. I'm just new in the online space. I turned up looking like I knew what I was doing because I knew what I was doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One of the things I was finding is that some people would go and get coaching and have coaching and then come out as a coach directly without having all of, I'm not saying you've got to have 20 or 10 years experience to become a coach, but with nothing other than they've just had a bit of coaching and now they think they can take on the world, because real good coaches make it look really easy.
And I think that's the thing. So actually lots of people who've got the 20 years, I'm kind of the same as you, got time served, we make it look easy because we've got that experience. But it isn't easy and it's no quick fix. And I think I spent a lot of time frustrated. So I'm a trainer by trade. That's kind of that, in quality assurance is what I'm an expert, if you want to use that word, trained in. And the online training world, that boils my piss, because you can go out and you can set up your accredited program in things like, so one of the things I ranted about about a year ago was an online $9.99 online course to become a life coach, hypnotherapist, and I think it was mindfulness practitioner. So there's no reflective practice. I know. And I was exactly the same as you, and my piss bubbled out and I was ranty because it was so unethical, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that these online courses aren't great, because we do online courses, but all virtual kind of completely passive online courses don't necessarily give people the skills. They'll give them the knowledge. And actually I did one of the life coach courses because I thought if I'm going to rant about it, I need to know what I'm talking about. And actually from a knowledge perspective, it was great. But from a skills perspective, it really worried me because it was titled diploma. So where else do you get a diploma? University. Or through an NVQ, for example. And there's no way for $9.99, because I deliver those, there's no way that for $9.99 you can give the kind of credibility and professionalism. And the thing we've got with coaching, therapy, counseling, all those kind of things is, if you work with somebody and you open Pandora's box, you bloody well need to know what to do with the content.
Yes. This is the thing, and especially when we're talking about things like hypnotherapy and any kind of therapy where you are peeling off plasters, because often when it comes to working on yourself, you're going to places that you may not have visited for a while, and you need to do that with somebody who knows what the fuck to do with you when shit falls apart a little bit, because it does as part of that process. If you do that with someone that's unqualified, that's genuinely unqualified, doesn't know how to deal with that, that could leave you in an unsafe state.
And it's not kind of great for that person, because like lots of people say to me, oh, I don't work backwards, I'm future focused. Well, do you know what? People aren't stuck because of their future, they're stuck because of their past. So something needs unsticking. And the problem we have is that the way I look at it is, you do a lot of work around domestic abuse, right? You do a lot of campaigns. So if your coach said to you in the interview kind of process, so tell me, are you in an abusive relationship? You're not going to go, I've never talked to you before properly, but yeah, I am. Because one, they're not going to work with you. And two, that you don't know this person's madam, so there's no way you're going to disclose that. However, the statistics show us that 1 in 4 and 1 in 6 males will be experiencing some levels of it. So the chances are, as a coach, it doesn't matter whether you're a business coach, whether you're a life coach, whether you're a mindset coach, that will be unpicked. I know firsthand when
just
somebody
from numbers.
Well, when I worked with my clients with substance misuse, and I remember working with a lady who said, I've just about to walk out the door, and she said, I don't know what to do about my husband. And she kind of disclosed violence because it had gone past the abuse stage. And I remember myself thinking, I don't know what to do with this. Now, I was protected. I had kind of colleagues around me. I had processes and procedures around me. I had, thankfully, the common sense enough. I didn't deal with it very well. And I knew about that kind of stuff because I'd had training. And I think this is a kind of an extreme example to use, but it's so relevant and could so happen to so many people. And I just need to know what's best practice when I work with that person, not just for that client, but also for themselves, because it is stressful.
It is. And it's stressful on both sides as well. If someone discloses something like that to you and you're not prepared in terms of not in terms of you're not prepared to hear it, but you're not actually prepared, that's something that you can end up taking on. And that's really difficult, really difficult. I worked in welfare to work a number of years ago now. And because of my experiences, they put me in a position where I would look after people who were placed in a category where potentially they weren't going to work because of their circumstances. For all intents and purposes, they were going to be very, very difficult to employ because they probably wouldn't engage with anything other than that which was not going to have them sanctioned. So they wasn't going to do anything else. But in that position, I had to have a catalogue of things that I had to signpost them to should they disclose things. And also, I needed to have some training to make sure that I didn't take that home. Because
and that's the bit that kind of misses. Yeah.
You'd have all kinds of
things. And that's
just
one aspect. Sorry, I talk too much.
No, you don't. I think there's a delay in the sound as well.
Okay. If you look at then some of the other aspects of it, so substance misuse, if you look at alcohol use, then 80% of there's been a recent piece of research that looked at 80% of people working disclosed drinking alcohol before, during, or after work. Now, don't get me wrong, of that 80% of those will not be drinking during or after or before work. It'll be the 20%. However, when you look at some of the kind of reactions when people talk to you about alcohol, they'll just say, well, just stop. Well, there's lots of things you need to think about for that. And I'm not asking people to be specialists at all. That's not what I'm asking.
No.
It's just the awareness. On a more simplistic note, it's things like complaints procedures. And one of the things that really bores my piss in terms of Dani is that people going on and complaining about their client. You don't see kind of Top Shot going, oh, we've had a complaint and this person's bang out of order. They've brought this skirt back.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Like
it's not
client
professional.
shaming.
So yeah, and disclosures of stuff that people know people, and it's not good. It's not good, and I don't think it puts that person, that professional, in a good light. So there was just lots of little things that were kind of building that I thought, right, it's time to tackle this,
to get some best practice in place for the industry, like the whole industry. Like if there was industry standards, it's funny because I was talking to Gemma May last Friday. She's a tattoo artist, and in a very similar situation, the tattoo industry is very, very poorly regulated. And in that, as long as they in the parlor, there are methods and systems in place to prevent bloodborne diseases, they don't need to know anything else. They don't need to have any quality around the art that they're providing. They don't need to know anything to do with the skin and the layers of the epidermis. Like they don't need to know anything. But that is massively dangerous in a more physical way, in a more
same with Botox.
Right. It's crackers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was watching them. Yeah, it is nuts. I was watching a program on the BBC, I think, this week, and they were saying about the cosmetic industry. And one girl basically she had fillers done, and her lips were kind of this way, so they were right out.
It makes
And
my shoulders
when she
collapse.
contacted her, oh, I know, but when she contacted her, loosely say beautician or cosmetic
Her aesthetician.
person, they went, "Oh, that's natural." Oh God, what they were like, actually charlatan. That's exactly what they were. But they just said like, "Oh, it'll go down. It's natural. That's what's meant to happen." So the fact that you can inject somebody with a freezing agent with no qualifications is beyond to me. Beyond. But
So
yeah.
what's the fix then for this, do you think? Like what can we do, like as an overall industry, what can we do to help protect both clients and coaches a little bit, not even a little bit better, just better than we are doing? Because there's lots of things being bandied around, the hypnotherapy, RTT, like this is real deep stuff that has the potential to be very damaging from a mental health point of view. How do we regulate and protect that? What the fuck do we do?
Well, each of them will have some level of regulation themselves. So part of the issue we've got is, I mean, I've been delivering coaching or mentoring qualifications for 10 years. And 10 years ago, you were a coach, you were a mentor, you were a trainer, you were an advocate, you were a consultant, you were a therapist, you were kind of in your box. Now, the word coach in particular is used all the time, which for some people, if you're a counsellor, then you don't want the regulations of the BACP, for example. If you're a coach, ICF, quite rightly, is really rigorous to go through, but people go, I can't be asked with that.
I'll be bothered with that.
So we've got this kind of this hybrid now, mixed talent of coaches, which I love. For me, I think the shortfall is that we need coaches and therapists and counsellors, this kind of online space to come together. And I'm not necessarily calling for full regulation. I've worked with social workers, I've worked with probation officers, I've worked with teachers, and full regulation doesn't solve quality assurance issues.
Right.
But what it does do is give an element of recourse. And for me, I think we need to be really holding ourselves accountable and saying, right, okay, what am I going to do if I get a complaint? Because saying I don't have a complaint is just ridiculous. And actually my philosophy with it is that the bigger you get, the more expectations you get. So it's almost like having a troll. Online you get a troll and people go, yes, I've made it. It's almost like having a complaint, because it means that people have higher expectations of you because of what they've seen. So I think complaints are a natural part of success, but having those processes in place that take away the emotion, or having a real solid understanding of who you are, what you do. I'm a bit controversial in my whole thing of ideal client. And I think you need to kind of know who your ideal client is. But I genuinely believe that if you know yourself and you know your niche and you are authentic to that, you will repel the people you don't want to work with, and you will attract those people. So sometimes we get caught up in kind of prodding the pain point, and we go prod, 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 prod. And then we go, sorry, you're not suitable for my program.
You're not for
and
me.
We've left them high and dry. And I think if we did it in a kind of reverse way sometimes, and we talked about, this is my experience, this is what my expertise is, this is how I can help you, you will naturally draw those people.
Yeah, you'll pre-qualify, won't you? Instead of like just spraying and praying and bringing everybody in and then like discounting them later on. And that makes it difficult for everybody, doesn't it? It's a harder way to do business. I'd rather just attract the people to me that are the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got, I'm thinking of a well-known brand that tells people how to present. They don't attract me at all. Your energy will attract me straight in. So we will attract. And lots of people say, oh, we don't have competition because we are all unique. I disagree, because I can think of at least 5 or 6 coaches that I would want to work with. I have to decide what I need right now. By being themselves and being authentic, then that will help. So I generally think peer regulations, we should be self-regulated and then calling each other out in a nice way, but working as a community. So as a community of people, we come together and we elevate one another and we support one another. And I'm not saying call practice out, because that kind of gets really
I was
icky.
just going to ask, yeah, because call out culture is hard work, isn't it? It's hard to navigate because it's one thing to be saying, okay, there are definitely standards that we would expect as a peer group, and I think that that's right. You know, we should be saying, if we see shiesty behaviour, what does calling out look like? What should that look like? And if you're watching at home as well, I want you to pop into the comments as well. Get amongst this conversation. What do you think that could or should look like?
I think it's really difficult, and I think it can be really icky. Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I'm very much lead by example. So if you, like, my whole motto at the moment is around embedding excellence into business. Right. So if you're leading by example, if you're setting the standards, I believe that we should be doing the due diligence for our clients, and we need to be shouting out about this. So this is a really basic example, but lots of people say to me, I've got 20 years experience. I've lived through that. Therefore, now I'm going to help people in the same situation, but they've had no training.
Right.
So I don't believe that that's best practice. I'm not saying that they're not going to do a good job. Likewise, you have people who've gone through academia but have no life experience,
right,
and then are delivering training on something they've never had experience on. I don't believe that's best practice. Both will do a good job or can do a good job, but best practice is having both. But when I say to people, or people say, I never get asked about my qualification. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have training.
You don't have it.
Yeah, and I think
don't
that's
ask
the
a doctor coming in to do surgery on me whether he's got a qualification. He's about to cut me open. I'm trusting that he's got his qualification.
Yeah, and we don't ask a plumber. We don't ask an electrician. We just assume that they have it, but they have it because it's best practice. And so for me, it's about us sharing that more often. It's about saying, yeah, I am great at what I do because I have experience and because I have this result. But the other thing I think we don't do enough in any business, actually, online in particular, is lots of people say to me, I'm really good at my job because I've got happy clients. But if I then say to them, but what does that mean? What results are you getting for them? They're not really able to kind of quantify that anymore. And I believe that we should be doing more robust evaluations in the work that we do. And an example I can give, so in my training company, 99% of people would recommend me and my training. Now, I can give you wads of pieces of paper that prove that, but only 89% said they rated an increase in confidence. So as a business owner, I went, I've dropped 10%. Oh my God. And then went, right, logically, 89% is still good. But the 11%, where am I not getting that success? So as a business owner, I was able to dig into that. As a professional, I was able to dig into that. And as a person, I was mortified at 11%. And then I was able to satisfy that and go, yeah, most of those people rate their ability or their knowledge, their confidence much higher. And then I come in, deliver great training. They go, oh, I didn't know as much as I thought I did. Now I would rate myself at that spot. And I don't think as coaches, we dig into our results enough. And if we did that, oh my God, we would have marketing materials flying out of our fingers.
Yeah. And not just that, I think it's scary to look at. I think it's genuinely scary to look at that. If you've got to have some stones to be able to go back and have a look at what are your actual outcomes here. You've delivered everything that you've said on the tin, but what are your actual outcomes? If the outcomes are not what your clients signed up for in the first place, you've got a list of deliverables. Like me, for example, like be heard the mastermind. It will be, they will wait for me for 6 months, they will have a course delivered to them, they will get some templates, they will have a speak sheet, they will get a show. But ultimately, I want them to be able to be confident enough to go out and get booked. That's what I want. I want them to be able to go and speak.
Yeah, so for me, actually, there's a few things you've missed. Actually, there's an increase in knowledge. So you've given them the skills to know how to formulate a presentation. You've given them the confidence to do that. You've given them the skills. You've also probably done some form of observation to reflect on. So you've helped them then gain a better understanding. So there's 3 or 4 things that you will
that will be quantifiable
for a client. Yeah, and enough. So yeah, I just think that in terms of calling out, it's not saying Dani Wallace, you did this and you were shit. It's not about that. I'm not saying that. Not that I'm
It's
ever
all
need to
right.
say it,
I
I'm
mean,
sure.
I've had it
But
said to me before. It's fine.
thick skin. But it's about kind of just leading as a cohort of credible, ethical, professional people who love this kind of industry and want to see it better. I then believe that clients will start to ask more difficult questions. And my kind of
Discerning
go-to question is, tell me about a time when you couldn't help a client, because that will tell me so much about their values, their ethics, and their reactions. Because I don't want to work with somebody that says, I've never had somebody that I couldn't help, because that's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There are going to be times where you've had to turn people away because they're not ready to do the work, where they've needed to, say, for example, in a coaching capacity. So I'm no life coach, or, you know, we don't do any of that. In fact, there are caveats that when you come to work with me, you've got to have done some of the work beforehand before you come, because you've got to speak from the scar and not the wound. But you've got to be able to turn people away because they're not going to be right. And if, you know, when have you not been able to help someone? It does say a lot about what your morals are, because you can't just take any Tom, Dick, and Harry on when you're doing that kind of work. Some people aren't ready for that kind of work. You've got to be able to identify who those people are. Lisa Wynn's just saying, Lisa Wynn's an incredible coach. Coaches often hide behind the coachee is responsible for their own results, which is true. But as a coach, you've got responsibility for helping them to maximize those.
Yeah, I completely agree. However, what I find is coaches will often take on the responsibility unless it's positive. And then if this client gets great, phenomenal results, they'll go, oh, look at my client, they had super success. So they then kind of take on that aspect of it as their own kind of support. And they are an important part of it. But I guess because of my professional background, I often think that, you know, you can help a horse, but you can't, what's that saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I think, you know, we work with a lot of horses who do a lot of good, but you are just the trainer. And I don't like to disempower my clients and the work that they've done. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm just a small part of that journey. And I'm a bit egotistical about it as well, because I think if my client does well in a year's time or 2 years' time, I'd like to think that I've taken a small part of that.
You've laid the foundation.
You know, I just take the credit wherever. But I think often coaches are really great to take they'll be really quick to push back you didn't do the work, so therefore you've failed. But then you did a little bit of work, but I did a lot of that work for you, or it's my program that helped you, that you propel. So
selective success.
And that's the minority, because the majority of coaches I've come across have been incredible. But you know, you could have 1,000 reviews that say you're awesome. That one review can damage your reputation severely. And what I kind of feel really passionate about is, how do we protect that reputation so that when you get that
and it
kind
is
of damage, how do you deal with that professionally and maintain your reputation in the best way?
Absolutely. Sarah Savory's just saying it's not just about cheap training either. There is training out there which is really expensive, makes people think that it's better, and that is not always the case. The support after the training and continued investment is so important too. Do we just want to take a second and applaud Sarah Savory for saying the thing?
Mexican wave. Do a Mexican wave. It's one of the things that really winds me up, actually. I get frustrated with poor coaching, but actually when I look at it, often I don't know how to say it in a nice way.
Just say it.
You kind of get this pyramid selling. And you've got is somebody at the top who knows her shit. They know, or they know their topic inside out. But then they've passed that formula onto this person, who's then going to pass that onto this person, who's then going to pass it onto this person. Before you know, you've kind of got this Chinese whisper. And it's these people that get coached at the bottom that, instead of embracing their niche, I get really frustrated with people who say, how did you find your niche? You don't find your niche finds you. And when you know who you are as a person, and when you know who you are in terms of your skill set, finding your niche is irrelevant, because and that's when you learn a cookie cutter program, you will only ever be able to deliver that skin deep, because what you really need to do is create your own framework, which is based on however many years of knowledge, training, skill, reflective practice, all of those things. So yeah, the training industry, the online training industry in particular, the fact that that's completely unregulated really double boils my piss.
It's like bubbling over. It's steam. It's just sublimed.
Out my ears.
Lisa's just saying I've got whiplash from nodding so hard for the last 5 minutes already. Lisa's like this at home. And this is the encouraging thing, is that there are so many of us out there that are thinking this, and that it isn't about call out culture. It's not about pulling other people down within their businesses. It is about that support and the protection of each other, so that we all can see, like, we're all pulling in the same direction here. We want what is best for our audiences, and we want what is best for our clients, and we want what is best for each other, because when we all do well, we all do well. So it's in all of our best interest to be linking arms where this is concerned. I just think it's, it's just wonderful work, and it's just a brilliant conversation. However, I want to kind of go back to how you came to this in the first instance. So, like, because when we talked just before we came on the show, you was like, well, I could talk on coaching best practice, but sometimes it's a bit sticky, or I start to repel people because of it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to hide away from any of the conversations. It's important that we do this. It's important that we've got a little platform between us here. Let's have a little, let's have a little dance around the controversial topics and see what everybody else feels. Turns out we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, which is brilliant.
Absolutely.
If we go back to the to working with drugs and alcohol, and working within the industry where people do need to be protected, what brought you there? What was your story to get you there? You've been in that industry for 20 years.
So I don't have any kind of personal story as such.
I'm not looking for any salaciousness.
Yeah, no, and
tell me about
I actually don't.
Addictions.
Well, after my holiday last week or 2 weeks, I could probably come back and go, my liver took a bath.
My liver hurts a bit.
Yeah, that's why the lighting's so good. It's hiding all
you look great. I'm very jealous.
So yeah, basically, I was aged about 9 years old, and apparently told my mum that I really wanted to work with the homeless, and I was going to live on the streets for a weekend, so I knew what it was like. So I've been, before that, I wanted to be on Emu's Pink Windmill as a pink windmill dancer, which I think, there's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door. Yeah, we would have been amazing.
I wanted to be on Timmy Mallett's Whack-A-Day. I wanted a
sticky plaster.
Yeah, I wanted a badge to do a wacky wave with.
Yeah. I forgot about the wacky wave. Anyway, so yeah, from a young age, I kind of knew I come from a background in nurses. My dad was an A&E nurse. My mum worked with eating disorders. So it's kind of in the family, I guess. Although my sister fixes people's dead skin on her feet. So she's not coming. Yeah.
This is the calling, I guess. So, someone's got to do it.
Oh, it's disgusting. She loves it. Anyway, so from 16, I was working in catering, and I got the personality for waitressing. I was polite. I made more on tips than I did in wages.
Same.
And fell into a trainee manager role in a beefeater. So I was working in a beefeater as a trainee manager whilst doing my health and social care GMVQ, which they don't even have anymore, but that's how old I am. But they have this qualification, and then basically worked through that kind of ranks. I went to work for, I don't know if you heard of Chicago Rock Cafe.
Yes, Chicago Rock. Yeah.
So I worked with them, and I basically ended up business mentoring the new business owners. So as we grew, so Jumpin' Jacks and Life Liquid, all these kind of bars popped up.
There's the Luminar Leisure at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I worked for them as the one of their emerging businesses trainers, and did business mentoring, and kind of basically did everything from recruitment. So kind of was in the sector from a really young age. And then whilst I was there, thought, there's a lot of people in here that are wasting their lives drinking and doing drugs. And basically I fell pregnant, came back to Wales, and you can't travel every 6 weeks with a baby, funny enough, and just took a job in doing community service work with the probation service. From there, realised I was working with drug and alcohol users. In fact, I would say 80% of those on my Saturday wagon were from alcohol-related fighting or offences, that kind of thing. And then went to work specifically with a methadone maintenance program with heroin users who were prolific offenders. And then my real kind of, I say passion, is such a random thing to say, but my real passion is working with cocaine users and professionals, because it's such a hidden area. We could probably do a whole show on that, to be fair.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's rife. Absolutely,
it is rife. Yeah, and I do a little bit of work now with that still, but not, it's not my main kind of work. But I enjoy working with mainly cocaine users, because they're just, in the nicest possible way, a bit barking, because the cocaine gives them this ridiculous energy. So they're like, yeah, and then you see them the next day and they're like, oh my God, or they're really paranoid. But actually, on a serious note, if you look at the links around kind of cocaine and alcohol use, and it kind of forms this extra chemical called cocaethylene, but that has massive links with suicidal thoughts. And so there's loads of things that makes it interesting. But what I realized was the stigma attached to that was rife. So the stigma attached to substance misuse, and that's where I fell into training. And I've been doing training, assessing qualifications and competence for, well, Dani, I've been saying 10 years, but I've been saying 10 years for 5 years. So it's at least 15 years now. I know.
Oh, stop. The fact that we're talking about wanting to do a wacky wave makes me feel old.
I know.
And you don't know that, they don't know what the pink wall is.
Yeah, I know, it's scary. But yeah, I fell into it, and I genuinely, I've done a lot of quality assurance work, a lot of business mentoring, a lot of professional practice, that kind of thing, reflective practice work. And I genuinely just love to see, more than anything, the light bulb going off in professionals' heads, where they go, oh my goodness, I'm undercharging, I'm underpaying, I am flipping awesome at what I do. And that's what kind of fuels the fire in my belly.
I love it. So what's coming up for you then in the next few months? Like, have you got anything exciting planned? Like, tell me, because I just bloody love what you do. I want to know what you're getting up to.
I do. So it's been a long time coming. It's been in kind of process for 18 months. But we're launching a brand new quality mark for coaches, therapists, and counselors.
Amazing.
So honestly, I cannot tell you how excited I am. It launches in end of September, and essentially won't be linked to any other. I can hear little voices.
And she's just popped her head around the corner and gone.
I know. I want to say hello. Oh,
are you okay?
Why is the toilet water green?
I don't know. Oh, because there's a toilet thing in. There's a blue block in it. That's why the toilet water is green. By the way, everybody. Right, can I carry on?
No.
You shut up. Sorry, cool. Not
that
you.
Is the most important question. That's the most important question we've had all day. Tell us.
What you're doing. Why is the toilet water green?
Absolutely, and not blue.
I just it was green.
So basically we launched this quality mark. It has 5 dimensions. One dimension is around you as a person, so your core values, your philosophy, self-awareness. The other one is all around your professional mastery, so your philosophy. How do you know that your methodology is actually good? How do you know? All about the planning, so putting in the protections for your business to make sure that you're kind of protecting you, your clients, and your business. And then the final 2 dimensions are all about, how do you know you're delivering to a good reputation? How do you know that you're being professional? And the final one is, I call it the substance to the fluff. It's a very substance and fluff place, but it's the substance is the good hardcore kind of data. It's the boring bits, but essentially once you've achieved,
it's the foundation, isn't it, on which you build everything from. Like, your controllables are your measurables. So if you've got something which you can measure, then you've got something which you can then scale and grow from.
Yeah,
so even though it's boring, it's not.
But you can just, I can like proper geek out about data, but you can really dig into it. So as you grow and scale, exactly that, you have the evidence there to be able to back any complaint, or you just feel really strong in who you are and what your business does. It's all about driving excellence. So the quality mark is called Culture of Excellence, and the program that we support people through is creating a culture of excellence, and it pilots in September, and then we do a proper launch early 2021. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. I just think it's needed. It won't align with kind of the BACP or ICF, or it's completely independent, because
Standalone.
the way I see it, it's like a trust trader / investors in people, but specifically created for online coaches, therapists, and counselors, and I guess other business owners, but that's who we're focusing on first.
And what a great way to really start this industry standard. What a brilliant thing to, you know, implement to help people get to grips with that. Even the trust trader thing is important. Like going out to seek something like that as a business owner shows that you are invested in your practice. And for your clients out there, as part of your due diligence, if you see that your service providers are doing those things, it shows their commitment to you. And I just think, again, it's one of those things that creates even more integrity and creates even more sort of, you know, solid bones around your business. You not being frightened and not being scared of all of those things that you just said, and really hanging your hat on them makes you suddenly even more attractive. So I just think it's just brilliant. I think it's wonderful. I can't wait to see more of you know, how that unfolds. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and it's, you know, it's an organic process. There's not any, you know, it's not turning into a revolution. It's about those people who, exactly like, who want to stand up and show and shout about their credibility, because it is a growing market. And as I said earlier, I could think of at least 5 different business coaches that I would want to work with. And I've chosen to work with one in particular, but I took a lot of time to decide on how and who to do and what I needed for myself. And I think that's what it's really about. It's about, you know, standing out and standing true in your skin as a business owner and your authenticity, and then just demonstrating really clearly that I believe that excellence is important in the work that I do. So, and why wouldn't you? You know, why would you have a business that you didn't want to be the best at? That's a question I ask anybody. You know, why wouldn't you want to put quality measures and excellence into the heart of your business? So, but that's just, you know, that's me.
But it's true, and you wouldn't be doing it.
Excellence.
but like we say, it's when you do that, you're hanging your hat on the fact that, you know, you're committed to that provision of that service to your clients. And I think, again, that's something that as an industry we need to be even more mindful of now more than ever, as there becomes an explosion. So even more of an explosion the last 3 years, particularly over here in the UK. In America it's been going on a lot longer, but here in the UK we've just had lockdown. Lots of people are moving into the online space at a rate of knots to try and keep buoyant. Saying that you know you're committed to your excellence in the provision of your service can only mean good things for both you, your clients, and the industry in general. So 2 thumbs up
as
from
we grow in scale. Woohoo! Bex can wave, I expect, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we're not just like nodding vehemently like Lisa for the first 35 minutes of the thing. Like, we're Mexican waving and dancing and all sorts. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. It has been a pleasure to speak to you about all the things that boil our pits about the coaching industry and beyond. I am super excited for all the things you've got coming up. I can't wait. Please do come back on the show in the future. We've got more to talk about in lots of different ways, shapes, or form. But Charlotte Hopkins, everybody, Charlotte will pop the links into all of the bits and pieces that she talked about into the comments so that you can get involved if this is something that you want to do within your business. You've heard it from somebody who is absolutely super duper qualified within our industry to help provide you frameworks so that you can really hang your hat on your industry, on your service. Go and get amongst it. Can't recommend it highly enough. That is it for the show today. I will be joining you tomorrow from a service station somewhere along the M1. I will be on the road. I will be your roving host tomorrow morning. as we are joined by the very glorious and the fabulous Vicky Walters. She's going to be joining us at 8 o'clock in the morning, as will I, from somewhere in the M1, as I make my way down to London for my dress fitting for my book cover shoot. I am going to go on into today. Don't worry, I will get some sleep about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'll make sure I sign off and tell you all that I'm safe and I'm going for a nap and I've got through the work for today. Thank you for all of your support so far with the book. I Am the Queen Bee, how I overcame self-sabotage and how to fly anyway, and how you can too. I really need to get the title like nailed and just like tripping out my mouth a bit quicker. I'm very tired. It will be done in the next few days. It will be submitted. It will be on its way to be formatted. I can't wait to share with you the book cover and all the exciting things and the launch plans that we've got. In the meantime, keep your words of encouragement coming through. They are much appreciated. I love you guys. We'll carry on the conversation in the IATQB Hive. Join it. Search IATQB. Stands for I Am the Queen Bee. You are too, or King Bee, or Royal Bee, whatever your persuasion. Have an incredible day, and I will see you tomorrow.